acceptable or is it unacceptable? Is it inacceptable or is it unacceptable? So if you guys, like me, struggle with the English prefixes, sometimes, now and then definitely stick around, because in this episode I'm going to be giving some answers to these questions, and we will be talking about morphology. We will be talking about the relationship between morphemes and allomorphs. We'll be talking about the interface between phonology and morphology. We'll be talking about, is there a certain pattern, so is it rather predictable or unpredictable, or is it completely hopeless and there is no hope on the horizon? And the answer is, there is a light at the end of the tunnel. So I'm super excited. Let's get started. Всем привет! Hallo, zusammen! Hi guys, welcome or welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Anastasia and I love creating videos about language and providing you with some language tips. If you guys like this video at any point, definitely make sure to give it a thumbs up to let me know that you like my content, and also consider subscribing to my channel. Whilst I'm drinking my herbal tea, I'll give you a quick update on what's been going on. So we are back in Munich and it's raining, pretty much non-stop raining. If you've been following me for a little while, you might recognize this gorgeous place, the cosmetic studio Leek. Hi Elena, thank you so much for providing me with this opportunity of filming today's episode in here. I'm super excited because this is exactly the place where I filmed my very first video. Secondly, I do have new glasses in case you haven't noticed. And thirdly, the famous beer festival, or shall I say the famous Munich Beer Festival, also known as the Oktoberfest, has begun. And how do you know? Because we heard it yesterday. Ortsapft is, which is in Bavarian, like giving you permission to start drinking the beer. This city is hustling and bustling with tourists right now, and in case you want to come over and to experience this unique atmosphere, the unique Oktoberfest vibe firsthand, definitely let me know in the comments down below, because I am planning on making a separate video devoted to the phenomenon, the Oktoberfest. But I digress. Tschüss! So morphology is a discipline in linguistics which deals with the internal structure of a given word, or internal structure of words generally. So if we take the word unpredictable, you do have predict as a base, then you have this prefix on, which precedes the base, and then you have this suffix able, which follows the base. So unpredictable. What does it mean? It means that the word unpredictable consists of three morphemes. Morphemes being the smallest meaning carrying units in a language. So they are the smallest meaningful units. If you haven't already done so, definitely go and check out my video on phonetics and phonology, because the relationship between a morpheme and an allomorph is analogous to the relationship between a phoneme and a phone. So you are definitely doing yourselves a favor by watching that video and by understanding what it's all about. Back to morphology. If we take one of my favorite prefixes in English, the in prefix, you do have a couple of possible variants. So you have incomplete, you've got imbalance, you've got illegal or illegitimate, and you've got irregular. How come? Well, the thing is, you do have this morpheme in, which is based on the level of long as a phoneme, right? A morpheme being a you know, an abstract mental representation. And then you've got the level of parole, which is all about the actual utterance, right? And on the level of parole, turns out that the prefix in has 3 phonological realizations: im, il, and ir. So im preceding bilabials p and b, il preceding l, so the alveolar consonant, and ir preceding post-alveolar approximant r, so irregular. Why is it so? Well, it's got something to do with the humans being sometimes lazy, at least I am, and when we are articulating sounds, it is more economical to say illegal than to say illegal, which then might end up being a Zungenbrecher or a tongue twister. Try to pronounce these words and then you will get my point. So this has something to do with the process of assimilation, okay? So making one sound similar in terms of its articulation to its neighboring sound, okay? So the phonological environment the word occurs in, the sound occurs in, conditions the phonological realization of the preceding prefix, right? So far, so good. But the question also arises, when do we use the prefix in? When do we use its competitor or counterpart, the prefix on? And when do we use the prefix non? Because the 3 of those denote pretty much the same thing, which is not, okay? So they negate things. Let's take a closer look, shall we? So basically I'm going to walk you through my term paper on affixal allomorphy in contemporary English, and in today's episode we'll be focusing on the prefixal allomorphy, and then in the next one we'll be focusing on the suffixal allomorphy. First of all, what are allomorphs? Allomorphs are, quote, phonologically distinct variants of one morpheme that occur in complementary distribution. So they are equivalent in terms of function, and also they are identical in semantically. They denote pretty much the same thing. However, they are phonologically diverse, as in embark or in danger, with im preceding the bilabials and with in preceding the alveolus. This suggests that a bound lexical morpheme, which means an affix which can't occur on its own, is phonologically conditioned, depending on the, quote, phonological structure of the base. So the phonological environment it is being attached to. What does it result in? In the morphophonological variation in affixation, which is of course formally observable but does not affect the meaning. Hence, allomorphs. So, when talking about the 3 competitors, in, on, and non prefixes, we have to know what kind of base are we dealing with, what kind of a base we are trying to attach the prefix to. Because the Romance prefix in almost exclusively occurs with Latinate adjectives, as in incomprehensible, intolerable, implausible, illegal, irregular. So the in prefix has 3 variants, as we now know, and are not unpredictable but preconditioned, occurring in complementary distribution, with im before the bilabial consonants b and p, with il before the alveolar sound l, and with ir before the post-alveolar approximant r, in terms of the International Phonetic Alphabet, IPA. Bauer, whose work I'm citing here, claims that the in prefix is no longer highly productive in terms of productivity and gives way to its Germanic counterpart or competitor, which is the on prefix. So unlike the in prefix with its 3 possible realizations, the Germanic prefix on is orthographically invariant. Nevertheless, it does show allomorphy. Depending on the speech tempo, it can, quote, undergo assimilation of n sound to the point of articulation of a following stop, as in unbelievable, unfavorable, unthinking, unjust, unusual, unconscious, unwanted. The un prefix mainly negates simply or derived adjectives, as in happy, unhappy, clear, unclear, comfortable, uncomfortable. A good example would be also finish something, right? Finished is the means of the ed morpheme, and then with the means of prefixation we have the unfinished version. So for example, unfinished business. In contrast to its rival prefixes on and in, the classical non-prefix does not express, quote, evaluative force as an unscientific or versus non-scientific, irrational versus non-rational. It rather carries a contradictory message, a binary contrast, as in violent, non-violent. Okay, so no evaluative force, but rather a binary contrast, violent versus non-violent, a peaceful protest being a non-violent one. Therefore, it creates dichotomous pairs that are, quote, especially suitable for use in scientific and legal work. So what kind of conclusion can we draw? If our base originates in Latin, for example, as in comprehendere, right? Comprehend. We do need the Romance prefix in incomprehensible. Or for example, revoke. We do have the variant of the in here, irrevocable. Also dispensable, indispensable. The bottom line is, if you are dealing with those fancy Latinate words, then the chances are that you need the Romance in prefix. If you're dealing with the daily vocab in English, so being of Germanic origin, then chances are that you need the Germanic on prefix. The non prefix most frequently occurs in academic writing, so in scientific areas and in legal works. Alright guys, I hope it's been useful, I hope it's been helpful. If you have any video requests or questions, definitely let me know in the comments down below and I'd be more than happy to answer those. Okay, I wish you all well. Всем пока. Tschüss zusammen. Bye guys.